is gone!
Well, here. Use a wiener. Boop.
It's not the same.
To many, it may seem like things are finally looking up on the cartoon side of Nickelodeon. The Loud House is a big hit, SpongeBob has gotten back on its feet, and Welcome to the Wayne is a really creative and entertaining show. But outside of that, things aren't much better than they have been for the past decade or so. Those 3 shows that I just mentioned, those were the only original cartoons that were still airing new episodes on the channel by the end of 2017. Alvin and the Chipmunks, the one with way too many N's in its title, is still around too, but it's so forgettable, and let's be honest, you probably didn't even remember that it existed until I just brought it up. The Fairly OddParents, Bunsen as a Beast, and Harvey Beaks were all booted off of the main channel and aired, or are airing their final episodes on the Nicktoons network. And even of the shows still on the network, Welcome to the Wayne has only aired 17 times, which is not a good sign for a series that is less than a year old. Now, I can comprehend why some shows have been treated in the ways that they have, but right now, Nickelodeon animation-wise isn't too far off from being on life support. But this year is a big opportunity for the network to finally turn things around with their animation, as we'll be seeing the premiere of 3 more new Nicktoons within the rest of the year, as well as the Rocko's Modern Life TV movie. But before all of that comes out, we have The Adventures of Kid Danger, which is one of the most interesting cartoons that Nickelodeon has produced in a long time. Kid Danger is a spin-off of the live-action series Henry Danger, which is about a teenager named Henry who accidentally becomes the sidekick to his town's superhero, Captain Man, and goes through all of the action and excitement that could come from a superhero show on a sitcom's budget. The series comes from Dan Schneider and his production company, Schneider's Bakery. If you've watched Nickelodeon during the past 23 years, then chances are that you've seen at least one show from him, like All That, Zoe 101, iCarly, and one of my favorite sitcoms of all time, Game Shakers.
Making games rocks. I used to collect rocks.
Of all the shows that he has helmed that I've seen, Henry Danger is not one of my favorites. But honestly, it's fairly enjoyable. From what I've seen of it, it's had its fair share of story and pacing problems, and some of the cast are severe overactors, but I find a lot of the humor and most of the characters to be pretty charming, especially in the most recent episodes. That being said, I would say that it's more on the guilty pleasure side due to it still having stuff like this every once in a while. Henry Danger is also responsible for one of the cringiest moments that I've ever seen on the Kids' Choice Awards. I know that this is getting a little off topic, but I need to talk about this. When the show won the Best Kids TV Show award last year, the cast treated the occasion like they were giving a speech at a much more sophisticated show, though that's not to diss the KCAs. They did once have a favorite part award. So the cast goes up and Henry's actor Jace Norman does this really bad joke about Moonlight winning the award instead, which is a reference to the Best Picture award mistake that happened at the Oscars a few weeks prior to the award show, but it looks like no one else in the cast knew that he was going to tell that joke, so everyone just looks super confused, and the guy that plays Ray covers up the joke in the least nonchalant way possible.
Oh, no, actually, no, it is Henry Danger. He was reading it upside down.
Oh, my bad, sorry.
But it doesn't stop there. Afterwards, Jace interrupts the rest of his cast to give this inspirational speech with weirdly political undertones.
I know right now, it can be hard to know which way's up right now, guys. I'm confused too.
It was a mess, but it was so entertaining to see. Unintentionally or not, it was probably the funniest thing to come out of Henry Danger for me. Anyway, The Adventures of Kid Danger is the first animated series Schneider's Bakery has been involved with, and it's got the same actors and writers as the live-action series. But now, the characters can do anything, and be in any situation that animation can possibly put them in. This new animated series opens the door to so many new creative possibilities, so naturally, it's a step down from the original series in more ways than one. Okay, I might be exaggerating a little, but I don't really feel like this show holds much value on its own. To start, Kid Danger's episodes are 11 minutes long as opposed to the 22-minute episodes of the original series. This is a logical change, as it does do a lot to differentiate the show from its predecessor, and all but a few of Nickelodeon's current cartoons are produced under this format nowadays, but it does kind of narrow the scope of the series. It's common for episodes of Henry Danger to feature subplots that involve Henry's friends or family on side adventures. But now, outside of his best friends Jasper and Charlotte, Henry's friends and family are barely present. Episodes of Kid Danger focus on small-scale problems that usually involve the core team of Henry, Ray, Charlotte, and Schwoz the Inventor. Many of them take place in only 1 or 2 locations and don't feel like they really matter. Many episodes also just kind of end or have their plots resolved through luck. The show bases its episodes on very silly story concepts, like having the cast chase down clone babies, or encountering a tribe in a volcano that worships a demigod with very large feet. Yeah, it should be pretty clear who wrote this episode. I think that almost any story can work based on the execution, even ones of questionable origin, but most of the plots for these episodes seem to have been executed with as little effort as possible. Sometimes the casual approach it takes to storytelling can work and produce episodes that are so silly that they end up being funny, but other times it feels like I wasted my time. The episode Flying Spiders is the biggest offender to the latter problem. After introducing its villain in conflict, a weapon that will spray thousands of venomous and twerking spiders into the air, Henry and Ray goof around for most of the episode, and when the villain's weapon finally does strike, the spiders make everyone feel quote-unquote good, and the episode is over. With episodes like this and Texas Wieners, it almost feels as though you could cut out entire characters and plot points, and the episode would basically remain the same. Many episodes of Kid Danger give off the feeling that the creators tried to size down plots of regular Henry Danger episodes, but still tried to stuff as much into them as possible. Other times, episodes don't quite feel like they have enough to them, like they were meant to be presented alongside a B-plot that they didn't have time to include. No matter what missteps the show takes, far too many of its episodes feel pointless or underwhelming.
And now, I'll open my door a little wider.
Now I realize I might be a little harsh on the storytelling in this series. After all, this isn't a plot-driven show, and as I already said, the original Henry Danger didn't have perfect plotting either. Some episodes had very abrupt endings. The episode Invisible Brad, for example, ends with the title character accidentally getting run over off-screen.
We were walking across the street together on our way here.
And?
Brad got hit by a bus. I guess the driver just didn't see him.
Henry Danger episodes are far, far from perfect, but what helps me enjoy them is that they actually have a decent amount of humor to keep me invested, and the Adventures of Kid Danger is hardly funny.
Great Scott! Run, Dr. Smith!
When it comes to humor, the advantage that this show does have over its predecessor is that the laugh track is gone. I don't have a strong vendetta against the laugh track. I understand why sitcoms use it, but I personally prefer that the TV shows I watch don't tell me how to feel every other moment. This is not helping my point. I know this sounds weird, but I think the comedy doesn't work because it tries to be very similar to Henry Danger's comedy. There are a few more visual or prop-based gags here, but the characters and dialogue are as weird and awkward as usual. While the comedy might win over fans of the live-action series easily, without the mannerisms, expressions, and comedic timing of the actors, the humor falls flat for me. Many jokes feel like they should be followed up by a laugh track, and need to be supported by this crutch in order to make the impact that they want to.
Oh, why don't they make steering wheels that accommodate my flab?
You want a hug?
No! Oh, I hit the sign!
Also, they did another unfunny reference to Moonlight beating La La Land at the Oscars, and considering that this video is coming out weeks before next year's Oscars, the joke is very dated on top of already being not very funny.
The only two things down there were this old toilet seat and this Best Picture award for Lava Land. Wait, no, it's for Moonlight. They've done it again.
The comedy also suffers from the fact that this series uses the same voice cast as the live-action show. Voice acting is harder than regular acting in some respects, since you have to channel all of your feelings and emotions into only your voice. The cast does a serviceable job here, but you can tell that some of the actors' way of voice acting is just yelling their lines really loudly.
Care about your hairy drone!
But the subpar voice work isn't the fault of the actors. They weren't cast to be voice actors, and only one member of the cast has extensive experience as a voice actor. Part of me feels like the show might have been a little stronger if it used to cast a professional voice actors, but fans probably would have been very upset that the actors were recast, and the change would have felt out of place considering how similar this series is to its predecessor in almost every other way, so I guess that they really didn't have any other options here. I know that I've been taking a look at the Adventures of Kid Danger throughout all of this video so far, but now let's actually look at the Adventures of Kid Danger, and by that I mean talk about the animation, or whatever it's supposed to be. Visually, this show is just a step above Family Guy. The designs and backgrounds are as bland as they can be, shading is practically non-existent, and the characters are barely expressive and move as stiffly as a plank. I get that the characters are supposed to look like their live-action counterparts, but could they not have put a little extra effort into not making them look like Go Animate characters? If you want to see how bad the animation can get, look no further than this shot in the theme song. Now, the intro to any animated series should be the show putting its best foot forward to draw the viewer in. While the theme song is admittedly a little catchy, none of the animation in Kid Danger's intro is very interesting or expressive. But then there's this shot. Look at the crowd around Henry and Ray. They all have the same faces and expressions copy and pasted onto generic models. To avoid this problem, all they needed to do was crop the shot or change the angle so that these extras weren't included. They just thought no one would notice how lazy this shot is. A shot that is basically included in every single episode of the show because it's part of the theme song. Yeah, it's pretty bad when the best animated part of your show is a 2-second close-up shot of wrinkled toes. Though I completely understand why that scene probably looks the best. To add insult to injury, I know that the animation could have been better. Years before this series was produced, Nickelodeon commissioned the animation studio Powerhouse to animate motion comics based off of the series, and the animation in them isn't too bad for what they are. The character designs have a little bit of creativity, the cinematography is a little more original, and the backgrounds actually have a good amount of detail. According to what the credits tell me, Powerhouse Animation appears to have handled all animation-related responsibilities for this show, from character design to storyboarding to animating. They're also responsible for animating the Castlevania Netflix series and a pretty sharp short for OKKO, so they've more than proven themselves that they are filled with some talent. Additionally, in the show's defense, the designs of its characters look a little less uncanny, though they're still very bland, and it can have nice details from time to time, like the hair and clothes of its characters blowing in the wind during the episode Trouble in Bikini. But in general, I found the free shorts on YouTube to be more visually appealing than the full animated series, and that's just kind of sad. Prior to the premiere of The Adventures of Kid Danger, Nickelodeon aired a new Henry Danger episode titled Tune Into Danger, to tie in with the start of the new series. The episode involves the main characters making their own cartoon about Kid Danger and Captain Man after they watch a crappy cartoon produced by another company. Not only is this episode so obviously written by people who know next to nothing about the process of animation production, as literally everything about the cartoon besides the writing is done by one guy, but the plot of the episode doesn't really work because the crappy cartoon that the characters watch is honestly a little more entertaining than the actual show. I know that might sound harsh, but I actually enjoyed watching a cartoon made to be as lame as possible. For how ridiculous it was actually funny in an ironic way. Like a lot of Henry Danger episodes, it knew that it was silly and didn't take itself seriously all the time. And when it did that, I think it really worked.
Take Flash Dance! And Gandhi!
Sorry, Gandhi. Sometimes violence is the answer.
In the episode, the characters point out all the obvious flaws with this cartoon, but their biggest concern is that it isn't accurate to their adventures. And that also seems to kind of be the goal of The Adventures of Kid Danger, to be as faithful to the live-action series as possible. That's why the show takes very few risks with its story, characters, humor, and animation. But in my opinion, sticking to the source material as closely as possible has only harmed the show in the long run, as it just ends up making the show feel like a lesser version of the live-action series. If they tried to make Kid Danger a parody or a more distant spin-off, then we could have had something that was interesting at the very least. I'm not saying that they should have made the show the equivalent to the Fonz in space or Laverne and Shirley in the army, but just something fresh that would be worth watching. Yeah, this decision was probably made to draw in Henry Danger's audience, but they didn't have to sacrifice so much creativity to make the show feel as rushed as it is. Plus, it alienates the viewers who just enjoy Nickelodeon's cartoons and want to check this show out without having seen Henry Danger. No kind of introduction is given in the new series, so new viewers won't have any idea who these characters are, what they're supposed to do, or why there is a horse on Schwaz's truck that is drawn like one of my French girls. I guess it forces new viewers to get antiquated with the original series anyway, which is a smart marketing tactic, but in any case, you're better off just watching the original series. Outside of a few truly positive qualities like the lack of a laugh track, The Adventures of Kid Danger is so inferior to its predecessor to the point that I question what the point of it even was, besides making money, of course. Most of the episode plots could have been done in live action if the settings were a bit more constrained, or if they got a bit more creative with how they spent their budget. It almost feels like it would have been less expensive to do these episodes in live action rather than to animate them. Then again, the animation budget for this show most likely is not very high. I know that fans of Henry Danger will probably eat this show up just because it's related to a show that they already like, and if you do like the show, that's cool. I'm glad that you found something to enjoy. But to anyone else interested, just avoid this. It's not a good adaptation, and it's not a good cartoon either. But remember, this is just my opinion and not something that you need to follow. I give The Adventures of Kid Danger a 5 out of 10. I'm fine with Schneider's Bakery working on other animated projects, but if it's a Game Shakers cartoon or anything else that's just an inferior or lazily animated version of one of their other shows, then Schneider and company should just stick with what they know. I appreciate Nickelodeon trying something new, but I'll take something that looks as gross as Pig Goat Banana Cricket over this any day. At least with that show, they didn't just copy and paste half the series over from another show. Look, I can copy and paste too!
Oh, no, actually, no, it is Henry. He was reading it upside down.
สวัสดีค่ะ ตอนนี้เรามีเว็บไซต์อันใหม่ชื่อ O Minute เว็บไซต์ใหม่เราสามารถแชร์ให้เพื่อนฝูงเพราะสะดวกรวดเร็วและฟรี ว้าว รีบๆเข้าไปเลยนะคะ Go and NICKtendo